slide, and I want to use that to guide. Of course, before the slide is on, I guess it's not new to all of us what business is all about. Um, and primarily, we know that business is meant to make profit, right? But there are some businesses that are not profit oriented. They are, maybe for example, non-profit making business. Even if you're running a business that is non-profit, you still have to make it sustainable. You wouldn't run a business that you call for non-profit and you use your own money to run it without getting something to balance it up. For example, church is a non-profit, but church without natural death, there's nothing coming in. So there must be something that you depend on for your business to be sustainable. But of course, most of us do come to New Zealand to really have one thing or the other. But wherever you find yourself, you should always think that one or two things that you need to do to really complement your earnings, at least get beyond the lowest, possible cadre where you find yourself. To me, I know, even though I'm into academics, but each time I think, how do I peruse my life, even if after academics? That sometimes ginger me up and say, I must be able to really look out of academic and see what I do to make my business, to go into business. So for that reason, I just want to discuss few things that we can look at in terms of what we need to think about in terms of business. Of course, I start from theoretical perspective, from academic perspective. When we look at it, you might look at it that we have a theory that we call opportunity structure theory. This theory really reminds us that it might be possible for you to feel like going into business when there are opportunities on ground that is set up that can really allow you to do business. And this theory look at it from, you might be willing to go into business or motivated to go into business when you live within an ethnic group and you feel that this ethnic group are in need of certain business that you can provide for them. This is common among people and thrive in so many countries where the ethnicities or the particular ethnic group are in, the population is sustainable enough to run business. Sometimes we may look at it from having an access to ownership, possibly the environment where you find yourself will provide easy access to home business. For example, in New Zealand, I won't say New Zealand doesn't have easy access. It has easy access. If you really wanted to do business, you could buy a business, right? If you have the money, if you really want to do business, there is a type of business we call zero business in New Zealand. They don't really want you to do anything. You can do it from your bedroom. You can just do it online as long as you're making something out of it. There is one that says predisposing factor. Now, of course, you can run business if you don't have a positive predisposing factor in the country where you find yourself. In some countries, the factors are simplified, make it easy for you to do. In some countries, the factors are difficult for you to do. For example, in New Zealand, and if you read a lot, you know that New Zealand is rated as one of the best countries in the world that have ease of running business. I think the ease there is because New Zealand doesn't force you, you have to have so much of this capital before you do business, as long as you do it and you don't contravene the law, and they will really support you. New Zealand is a country where you run a business and you feel you can't run it again. You can easily sell it off. Now, for example, in my country, if where I come from, if you own a business and you want to sell it, I don't think there's anybody that will buy it from you. Because the point is, there's no record for it. Even you that set up the business, you are not sincerely sincere to yourself. I don't know much about IT. Even IT you are talking about, there are adulterated IT. So that is it. So in New Zealand, when you want to buy a business, just choose this business. The document is there. If I want to know about this church today, I come to ask the pastor. I go online. You see everything there. So if you want to buy, you call an accountant. An accountant will validate it for you. And if they tell you this, it will be. Because they will be held responsible if after a year you run it, you don't make anything. Now, that's all about that. You have resources mobilization, yes. You can't start to think about business when you don't think about where you're going to get your resources from. Now, resources can come from different perspectives. But even in New Zealand, it's easy to get resources for you to run your business. But bank may not just give it to you. You have to have what it takes for you to take it. I remember when I was doing my thesis, I found out from some people that the business they didn't get the money from here. They got it from their country. I remember when we were at the other church, I was paying my school fees and I couldn't get the school fees. There was what we call thrift. Is it thrift they call it? In Yoruba they call it a susu. Yeah, a susu. On every month, if you have capability, we contribute $1,000. Don't let me call it naira. $1,000 for a year. We're about 10. You can't see that's 100,000. So if you can do it, I did that for about quite for a year, and I was able to do that to even ferry my family from Nigeria to this place. That's one of the ways you can really run money here, get finance to do business. Now there are some theories again where we call the cultural theory. There are some identified group of people that their culture of living is about business. Anywhere you find them to find something they want to do. Even if they are well paid, they still run business. A good example is China, Chinese. I have a friend now that just traveled to China and met a lady because he wanted to buy some things for his own business. And the lady, and his card, when he got to China, his card was not working. But he showed his account to that lady, and the lady did everything for him. At the end of the day, the lady traveled back to Nigeria, they became friends. You know what the lady did? She came to Nigeria and said she wanted to buy one particular card, a gift card. And the guy assisted him. They married now, and the guy gave that Nigerian $1 million for two of them to start business together. You can imagine that. It's all about that lady doesn't want to stay in Nigeria without bringing his own business understanding. If she borrowed the money from China, we don't know. But at least it's because she has a culture, the language barrier, she can't run anything in Nigeria except she has a business. She's not in Nigeria. That's another theory. Now there's another theory we look at, middleman minority theory. You know, from anywhere we find ourselves, we will see there are some people that represent group of people to run business with another group of people, which is common. Like now, I'm here, I'm a Nigerian. If there's a business that is coming up in Nigeria, and New Zealand government wanted somebody that can run it effectively, assist them in Nigeria, I jump at it. And they're going to better recognize me than picking somebody in Nigeria. Because already I have the PR, I'm a citizen, they can handle me, they know my history. But I can jump out because I know it can give me an opportunity to run business. And there's labor disadvantage. This is prominent anywhere. When you get to US, they will tell you the average migrant that does business in US are Nigerians. Why? If you live in Nigeria, I don't know, there's a proverb in Yoruba that says, Ojiya, Olobon, Tantije. You haven't suffered. No, you don't have problem. You say you are wise. How did you arrive at that? So when you go to US, if you go to New York, there's a particular jollof rice center. That's what the guy does. Nothing. From every other state in US, they come for it. They come for it. It's because is trying to serve is because she explained herself why did she do that business. For 2 years, she couldn't get a job. And she came, and there are a lot of Nigerians here. Why then? Let me start a small shop here. Everybody is eating it now. So sometimes you get to business because you are unable to get a job and you don't want to go back to your country. I think it almost happened to me when I came and I couldn't get a job. I wanted to go back. There was a time I wanted to set up a business here before I got here from church to do my PhD. Excuse me. Next page, please. Yeah. Now, why we need to be in business? Sometimes we may need to be in business because we need to serve our community. Community, perspective doesn't really mean that you are in Nigeria or you are from anywhere. If you live in Endesi, it's your community. If you feel that that community is lacking in something, you could just organize a business and start it. Now, another thing is, we go into business because we need extra income. There is no way you work in anywhere that the money paid you every 2 weeks will be sufficient for you, especially when you have people that you want to help, especially when you buy a house. So in most cases, we need to go to business to earn income. How you determine the type of business you go to is a function of your understanding of business. Now, you need financial freedom. Some people go to business because I don't want to serve anybody. I just have to have my freedom. How do you want to have your freedom financially? Is for you to own your business. And I know Pastor Mrs. does that a lot because I know various type of business she's gone into. Now, you may want to go into business because you want to promote your own country's culture. Yeah, this is home country culture now. Somebody must have sold this cloth for her. Yeah, you sold this cloth in Nigeria, New Zealand, yeah? No, I know. What's the name of that lady? Ayo. Ayo, yeah. Ayo, that's bringing. Maize clothes for Nigeria, promoting home culture. If she grows the business now, she may not need to, run any, look for any employment if she can make it big. Now, find opportunity in business. Sometimes you may have to go into business because you just find opportunity. Something can just crop up, people can just call you, can we do this together? And you just jump into it. Start from nowhere. Now, passion about particular type of business. Some people have passion. They just feel that this is the best thing I know, and I can just develop it. Developing it may be very small, but as you run it and you develop yourself alone, it could become big. Especially if you create a niche for what you do. If you create a change, if it is not the same thing with what people do, if you just little like that, people run after you. Now, some people say they want to do business because they want to work for themselves. You want to work for yourself. But sometimes working for yourself and doing business is a function of population where you find yourself or the type of business you want to do. That could be subject of another discussion from the Australian perspective. Now, unsuccessful attempt at getting a job, which is more or less, I've said that before, labor disadvantage. Most of us would prefer to work in offices because it's much more easy, less risk. As long as you can wake up and get into the office, you are paid. Yeah, okay. But the point is, as much as you are okay, it is when you get that job that the okay comes in. When you don't get the job, you start to look up onto people to help you out. It happened to me when I came to this country. I remember then, no job, nothing whatsoever. So I have to look up. In fact, it was not nothing was there. It was I cannot pay for house. My backpacker payment, money I brought, finished. I have to get address of a church from a friend of mine in US, who after continuously sending money to me, told me it is not sustainable, I cannot help you again. That's another story some other time. And I cried. I couldn't get anything. After that, I have to look. I don't even know the address of the church here in New Zealand. Somebody has to send it to me from US. I have to meet the pastor, pay for my rent for 2 years. Right, but that's another story. Excuse me, that's another story, another day. Now, how business owner could resolve challenges in running business. Of course, now you've succeeded in setting up a business. How will you, what challenges should you anticipate that you will have? How will you resolve the challenges you find yourself? Always engage in new and diverse products with adverts. Now, it's just like you can't continue eating one food every time. If you're running a business, always try as much as possible to create diversified products. Make changes, even if it is in the packaging alone. Diversify, make a change. Create opportunity for people to see something new from what you are doing. Attending social and ethnic events. Yeah. If you belong to church, you don't attend church, and you say you have a product. Now, your first constituency are the people you can sell your product to. They know you, they will believe in your product, and they will want to help you to grow it. In fact, you have to live, if you work in this type of, you attend this type of church, you need to read psychologically and know what is their need that people have not been providing for. Pick an understanding from that and set up a business as little as possible. Then you start to run it. And apart from that, if you do that, you'll be able to resolve. If your business is not going well, just get into social perspective and attend ethnic events. I think my second son went to Australia. He has a product. And when he got to Australia, he was struggling, he didn't know what to do. So there was Melbourne, I think it's in Melbourne. There was an occasion at Melbourne Stadium. And somebody told him to come there and bring your product. And he went there, he got the product, and he met a Chinese man who said, come to my office, we can discuss what you need to do. And they are still on it now to see how they can help him promote that product. It's just 22 or 20 something, but it's visionary. This is somebody that did software development, and told me, I want to do marketing. And I asked him, why marketing? He said, I want to sell my products when I produce it. I'm going to be rich. I wrote it down, and I'm still keeping it, where you are going to be rich. Yes, because it's just not easy, but that is what he has professed into himself, and we are waiting for him to manifest it. Now, always cut your cost as much as possible. Now, your business may be running good, may start fine. That doesn't mean that the scenario will continue like that. When you are making money, that is when you're supposed to cut your costs and make savings. Because business will not tell you when it's going to collapse. Within 2 months, 3 months, situation may change, tax system may change, anything may change, and the business may drop. So always cut your cost as much as possible. Raise funds when needed and utilize them effectively. Yeah. You need to continuously raise funds if it is convenient for you to raise. But mind you, raising funds may be easy for you. The more easier it is, the more problematic it will be for you if you don't manage it efficiently. You don't necessarily need to raise funds when you don't need it. But when you need funds and you don't raise it, the end result will be very negative for you. So you need to be guided. Now make prayer your favorite. Even if you don't come to church, there are always a way you can communicate with your God. What is good, need prayer. What is good the other way too, need prayer. So when your business is flourishing, still kneel down and pray to God for the continuity of your business. Now, I want to try to categorize from New Zealand perspective. Now, I try to say, engage in pay before you service. If you run a business based on community, and people love you and you love people. When they come to you to get any of your products, I think it's better not to use cash. I don't know the last time I have cash. So I get to somewhere, can I have? I don't have it. I just don't have it. I don't have the habit of having cash. I don't have a dime of cash. Now, if you engage in that habit of making people to pay through FPay before you, is it FPay they call it? FPOS before you service, then you are guaranteed of getting your money. The moment you sell for people to come and pay later, then you are bringing problem to yourself. Especially from African mentality. Now that's when they will now know, we knew when he came, we helped him when he came. Now he's not a king. We see how he's going to succeed. He begin to chase you up and down. So we have to be guided with that. Now I try to categorize businesses in New Zealand just for us to see where we can fall into or where we can choose to say that we want to run business. There are businesses in New Zealand which is 0 employee. You know one thing? My last son, right? My first one, business information. Second one, what is it? This software. The third one, I had problem. It was a family problem. What do you want to do? I think my pastor will remember. What do you want to do? I want to do building. Then go to university, go and do building engineer. No, I'm not doing building engineer. I want to go and learn trade. Trade. That's from Nigeria, you want to come and learn trade here. No, I'm not going to agree with you. So we traveled to Rotorua to meet a family friend. And he told the family friend called me and said, let him do the trading. Whatever he wants to do, let him do it. You cannot force him to do what you think you want him to do. Then, the problem started in the family myself. The mom always, don't worry, let them do to me. I can't be a doctor of philosophy and you go and learn how to build a house. You have to go to school. Until I will call pastor. And then I said, just leave them like that. And I have to agree with that. I'm looking at, and he told me, that I will build my house, I will sell house. You build your house, you will sell house. I say yes, when I finish it, I'm going to register, I'm going to do this and that and that. So that's, he will belong to 0 employee because he's going to be the one that will do. I think he's doing plumbing. Now he's doing it, learning, going to Unitech again. And he said, I will do everything on my own. My aim is to have my own building. He said he's going to, after that, he will do some building certificate, building something, and be registered builder. I pray you'll be able to get it. That's 0 business. So even those of us that are here, little business you want to do, you don't need an employee. Just do that. Register. Now, there are a business category that says 1 to 5 employees. You can register a business and employ. I give a scenario, sorry, if I go for that. When I got a job at where I'm teaching now, the person that helped me to get that job is from Zimbabwe. We just met on LinkedIn. And where I was teaching them was about to close down because there were no international students. And when I met this boy, the boy said, don't worry, doctor, you get a job. Just don't worry. And before they closed that institution, the guy helped me for that. You know what? After 3 or 4 years of working in that place, that guy told me, I'm not going to work again. I want to set up my cleaning job. He trained his 2 boys, his 2 younger boys, as construction graduates. This guy wedded about 4 or 6 months ago, and he spent more than $100,000 of his own money. When he wanted to leave that where we were working, they begged him and said, we need you for 3 months. He said, no, I can't go because he's the one that is recruiting for them. They engaged him for 3 months online. He was being paid $25 per hour. When they engaged him, he said he cannot collect less than $55 per hour and he's not coming to school. Wow. And he did that for 6 months. Now he has 2 businesses now. His 2 younger brothers that graduated in the same school are now having cleaning job now. So he started employing people. So the point is, he told me, doctor, you have 2 boys, 3 boys. Why don't you set up business? I said, those boys, they will not hear from me. They can't hear from me. He said, set up, I will help you out. They will be doing the job for you. I said, they can't. So that's, excuse me. Yeah, so that's just by the way. Now, I just want to bring this out. For any business you set up, you work in an environment. The environment is toxic. Environment is very competitive. So at the beginning of your business, don't expect your business to just fly up like that. So in that case, we have what we refer to as red and blue oceans strategy in business. You know, every business you set up in an environment that exists, you're going to find yourself in competition. That competition may not go well for you. So for that reason, what do you need to do to move from that? It's like when you sail in a very, very volatile waves, right? It's possible to throw you off. There are some waves when you sail, they're very peaceful, no way, no problem. So when you find yourself in an environment that is very toxic, just like I put it there, what do you need to do? You need to really try as much as possible to look at certain things that you've been doing in your business that is not making your business going very well, and try to change over. For example, sorry, for example, you know, when you work in you run a business in an environment where you can't compete with people. If you cannot compete with people, you can move out of that environment and go to another environment. Of course, the new environment you go into, you refer to it as blue ocean. It's going to become red again. When people see you running that business, they will rush into it. But what can make you sustain is once you know that you are in a new environment, always try as much as possible to innovate, to make a change. That's why you see most businesses, research and development, do job with it. That's why Nokia 3310 is no longer available. Nokia 3310 was in vogue before even Jobs started his, iPhone. But because they lay off, they thought it's going to continue like that. Where are they today? Dead. Even India cannot buy it. They bought it, they can't run it. So those are the things we need to know. Of course, I'm in academics, but the practice of this should be in the industry. Right, so I'm just bringing up this up because I was told to make some discussion on this. I hope this will benefit some of us that we will be willing to go into business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.